the real thing I want to talk about today is, and I know I've done a lot of talking about it, and a lot of people have talked about it online. The discourse online has been absolutely crazy when it comes to the box office. What is the box office for Superman? What is the box office for Superman? There's the domestic box office. There's the international box office. What is going on with Superman? It's crazy. The box office, the box office, the box office. Oh, man. All right, look, guys. The box office is what the box office is. It's plain and simple. There's no other way to put it. The box office is what the box office is. It's not going to change so drastically. We heard like on Monday, early reports on Monday, it was like, hey, it's made like $13 million on a Monday. Or on Tuesday, we heard it made like 13 million, but it was actually like 12.9. So it like changes like $100,000 here or there. Like then we heard on Wednesday, like Tuesday, it made like 17. No, it actually made 17.1, or whatever. So like we hear these numbers fluctuate very small amounts, but the box office is what it's going to be. But so many people are trying to say, for so long, they were saying for days and days, oh, when you compare it to Man of Steel, it failed. This movie is a flop. It flopped so hard. This movie is a failure. It failed so hard. Now, I talked about this on Superhero Cuts the other day, and I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I didn't go full, like hardcore in depth with this. Because here's the thing. People need to understand that I get they want to compare to the past. I understand it. I get you want to say, well, this Superman didn't do as well as this Superman, or this Superman didn't do as good as this one, or it did better than this one, or it didn't do better than this one. And I get that some people want to sit there and believe that, hey, the studio is absolutely going to compare like we are, but they're not. They may sit there and say, well, the fandom in 2013 was far more excited about that Superman movie than this one. So what's the deal? And then they'll look at the reasons on why. That's as far as it may go. Maybe. But they may not even look at that. Now here's the kicker, okay? I'll point something out when it comes to the international numbers, because these are some important numbers that I want to talk about when it comes to international box office, because that is another thing that people are sitting here talking about when it comes to international box office is Superman only made $95 million at the international box office on opening weekend. It's a flop. Nobody likes it internationally. Well, excuse me. Wonder Woman in 2017 made $122 million opening weekend, finished at $410. Black Panther, opened in 2018, started at 169 opening weekend, finished at 646. The big one that I really want to point out is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, started at 21 million and finished at 185. Venom is another one, 107, finished at 269. Now, what is the point of me showing this? The point of me showing this is that internationally, there is a trend where superhero films, and it's not just superhero films, it's other films as well, like Mission Impossible and Pixar films and stuff like that, where internationally, that first weekend, they will start around that $100 million mark, give or take. They'll start low, and then they can finish strong. And when I say finish strong, they'll jump up a good amount of money, another 150, 200, 300 million dollars. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that is going to happen with Superman. I'm just saying and showcasing that there is a trend that shows this, that this happens in the international market. Okay? That's what happens. Now, moving on, we take a look. Top Gun Maverick made a $1.496 billion. You know where it didn't show? In China. Because another thing that people like to freak out about is China. Well, the movie Superman's doing terrible in China right now. Oh, is it? Who cares? Movies can absolutely be successful without China. Top Gun Maverick made 1.49 billion without China. Spider-Man No Way Home over $1 billion without China. Joker over $1 billion without China. Barbie 1.4 billion, only 32 million in China. Oppenheimer only 63 million in China. The Batman only 25 million in China. So when I sit here, and why I'm showing you this stuff is because when all of these naysayers come out of the woodwork and try to say Superman is failing in China, that's it. It's a flop. It's over for them. They're not looking at the proper information. They refuse to look at the real information, the actual information that is out there. All they're doing is looking at the numbers that's right in front of them, and they say, well, obviously Superman's a flop. Now, that's not to sit here and say that Superman's not going to struggle to make X amount of money, okay? It's not to say it's not going to struggle. It very well could. I'm not sitting here saying that Superman's going to be a $1 billion movie. I'm not saying that either. But what I'm sitting here saying is that Superman can absolutely be a successful movie without China. I'm sitting here saying that Superman, following and looking at trends that we've seen in the past, can be a successful movie internationally because the trends show that movies start off slow and finish big internationally. Okay? So there you have it. When you look at the international and the China numbers, they are very wonky. Very, very wonky. Okay? Now, when it comes to, and I've shown this chart to most of you guys that are watching. I know you may be sick of seeing this chart, but I love showing it because this chart throws all of anybody, all the naysayers, all the people that sit here and whine and cry and say that Superman's a flop. And they try to sit there and compare it to Man of Steel or Batman vs. Superman. They refuse to look at the facts. This information here is what studios are looking at. Okay? This is the type of information they look at. This here is a chart of the box office totals for comic book movies since the year 2000. All right? And if you see the last 2 years, 2023 and 2024, the average in 2023, the average was under $400 million box office. In 2024, the average was $453 million. Okay? The average for 2025 is lower than that right now because not with Superman in it. Because, well, Brave New World and Thunderbolts didn't do too hot. Now, Superman right now is nearing $300 million. If it stays on track, you can rest assured that it's going to hit 500. Excuse me. It's in my opinion, I think it's going to hit the 600, most likely 650, if not more, in a 90-day run. That's my opinion. That means that the average, which is the latest average in 2024, was $453 million box office for a comic book movie. Superman is going to make probably, in my opinion, $200 million more than that. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. The studio will look at that and say, holy crap. We did better than what most comic book movies are doing right now. That means that the audience said, hey, we like this better than all these other comic book movies. That's what they're saying. That is exactly what they're saying. But here's the thing. People want to sit there and say, well, it still didn't do better than Man of Steel. It didn't do better than Batman vs. Superman. Oh, man. Why would they even do that then? Well, let's take a look. You go back to 2013, you go back to 2015, you go back to 2016. What was the average superhero movie making at that time? $600 million, $700 million. That's what they were making at that time. You were right at almost at the peak. You were on the way up to the peak of the comic book movie genre boom. That is when things were getting huge. That is when you should have been making a crap ton of money with the superhero films. That's when studios were expecting to make 800, 900, $1 billion for your superhero films. That's what they wanted to see. In 2025, it's a much different story. Why? Well, take a look at this. And look at this graph and how far down movie tickets have come over the last 15 years. Look at that. All right. Tell me there isn't a trend of tickets going down. Look at that 2013 to 2016 time frame. More people were going to the theaters back then. So of course a movie like Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman would sell more tickets. Absolutely, more people were going to the theater back then. Absolutely. Less people are going to the theater today. And that proves it here that less people are going to see comic book movies as well. So, when you take a look at that information, who is looking at this information? Specifically, who? The studio heads, the people running the studios. They look at this information. They know fewer people are going to the theaters. They know that the average comic book movie only makes $450 million, if it's lucky, in the theaters. So they know Superman, if it can surpass that $450 million, if they can get butts into the seats and sell more than 600 million tickets, 700 million tickets, that's a victory for them. But what's causing all of this? Well, over the last number of years, it's been things like shorter windows for movies because they're not in the theaters for 90 days or more. Because of streaming, marketing hasn't been great. Come on, look, DC marketing has always been terrible, but marketing for Superman was fantastic. The pandemic really played a role the last number of years. I'm not saying today, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the pandemic is playing a role today, but from like 2020, 2021, 2022, yeah, it absolutely played a role. Marketing misses, pricey premium. The prices have gone up. People don't want to pay the prices. That goes with the sticker shock. The content just hasn't been good. Home theaters, like my TV here, I got like almost an 80-inch screen TV. I got a Govee light set up. I got a great theater system. To watch movies at home. I got a nice comfortable couch back here. It's not a bad deal to watch movies here. Absolutely not a bad deal to watch movies at my house. Is it as great as a theater? No, but it's darn good. So when you get down to it, hey, there's a reason why the tickets have gone down, and there's a reason why comic book movies aren't making a lot of money. So if Superman can surpass that and overcome all of that, well, hell yeah, that's a victory for Superman. But here's the biggest thing. Okay? Because I can't stress this enough. I've been talking about this for a year or more. This is a brand new universe that is coming off the heels of a failed universe. The DCEU was a failure, catastrophic failure. But here's the thing. They needed Superman to get fans and audiences excited for DC. That's what they need this movie to do. As of today, nearly a week since its release, it came out 1 week ago. 83% critic score, 93% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, an A- cinema score. It's got the audience excited. You go on social media, you go on TikTok, we just talked about it. People on TikTok are loving this movie. They're making videos of punk rockers saying, when I walked out of Superman, They're doing the whole thing where they're laying on a chair and they're playing punk rocker, smiling at the camera. Like they're doing trends based off Superman. They're having fun. They're loving this movie. They're having crypto lookalike contests. They're doing things because of this film. Superman, the movie, Man of Steel, Superman, all of those streaming on HBO Max have jumped up like 300%, 150%, 400% being watched on HBO Max because people went and saw Superman and they wanted more Superman content to watch, and they went and watched those things on HBO Max. People are loving this movie. People are excited about Superman. People are excited about DC content again. That is what this movie was supposed to do. And it's done it. But people aren't excited. People aren't going to see the movie. No. What don't you understand, people? Nobody's going to the theaters. The fact that it's making as much money as it's making, and it's going to make more, don't think it's not going. Look, it's been 7 days, not even a full 7 days yet. The fact that in these 7 days that it's made nearly $300 million, probably more than $300 million at this point, because we don't have all the international numbers, more than $300 million after 7 days. Come on, guys. You don't think in the next 80 days